Hello everyone, good evening. I'm Shreya Dhondial. It's been a tremendous Tuesday for India on the COVID front. We've had the lowest COVID cases in the last 7 months today. 22 states have logged 0 deaths. Our positivity rate is down 1.48%, and the cherry on the cake, we finally have a vaccine for children aged between 2 to 18, which means 40% of our population for who vaccines were not available will get a shot against COVID. All this coming as doctors and the government are sending us clear warnings about what could happen in the next 3 months. The festival season, after all, is upon us. No one is clear about when the inoculation for children with the Bharat Biotech vaccine, Covaxin, will start and how long the entire process will take to complete. But there are details that are available. Runjan Sharma is getting us more on that. For months now, you might have grappled with the dilemma between letting your kids go back to school and keeping them safe from the dreaded virus. But soon you can have both, because India's own vaccine is now set to protect India's own children from the age of 2 to 18 years. The subject expert committee has cleared the indigenous vaccine from the Bharat Biotech stable for use. But the approval has been granted subject to certain conditions. Bharat Biotech has to continue its study as per the clinical trial protocol. It has to continue providing updating prescribing information and fact sheets. The data has to be submitted every 15 days for the first 2 months and then monthly. Lastly, Bharat Biotech must also submit a risk management plan.
Pediatric Covaxin is the same vaccine as Covaxin, which is being administered in adults since the beginning of the year. But separate trials were conducted to make sure that the vaccine is safe for children in the age groups of 2 to 18. Now, while in adults, the age gap of the vaccine is 4 to 6 weeks, in children, it is going to be separated by 28 days.
But to further ensure safety, the pediatric Covaxin will use pre-filled syringes vastly different from the regular Covaxin and other vaccines that are supplied in multi-dose vials. A PFS mechanism ensures zero overdose on the 0.5 ml mandatory dosage for children, especially those just above the age of 2. One pre-filled syringe will have exactly 0.5 ml of the vaccine to be used and then discarded. Like their adult counterparts, children receiving Covaxin will also get 2 doses at a minimum interval of 28 days.
बहुत बड़ी उपलब्धि होती है जब ये अप्रूवल होके बच्चों तक पहुंचेगा, तो मुझे लगता है ये सभी के प्रयासों का एक रिजल्ट होगा.
Covaxin was supposed to be Atmanirbhar Bharat's biggest triumph against the pandemic. But initial problems over production resulted in India relying overwhelmingly on Covishield. The kiddies dose now waits for the final approval from the Drug Controller General of India, with the hope that it can be the savior of millions of children across India and their parents. With Runjan Sharma in New Delhi, I'm Shreya Dhondial. So that's Covaxin with an efficacy of 77.8%. It will be administered to children between 2 and 18. But there are other vaccines in the fray as well. There are other vaccines across the world that have been approved as well. Let's start with Pfizer-BioNTech. This is meant for children between the ages of 12 to 15. The company has also now approached the US Drug Authority to approve its vaccine for children between the age of 5 to 11. What is its efficacy? Its efficacy is 100%. Then the Made in India vaccine for kids, Zydus Cadila, it's the world's first DNA plasmid vaccine. They have, of course, received emergency use authorization for children above the age of 12. Now, this is a 3-dose vaccine, but it's very pricey. Given that this is a syringe-free vaccine, which means it's perfect for kids, but it also means that the prices shoot up, the price for each dose shoots up. The government is in negotiation with the company to bring the prices down, the cost down of this vaccine. What is its efficacy? 66.6%. This is made in India by an Ahmedabad-based pharmacy. Now, Moderna, it's been approved in Europe for children above the age of 12. What is its efficacy? Its efficacy is 100%. Now, let's take a closer look at all the vaccines approved or under development in India that could be the key to sending your children back to school.
The schools are open again, and they are filled with laughter and excitement. But there are still many empty benches in classrooms, and they all ask the same questions. Where are the vaccines, and when will they be available? The first vaccine for adolescents in India was supposed to be Zycov-D. Zydus Cadilla's 3-dose needle-free vaccine was approved for emergency use for adolescents above the age of 12 way back in August. The vaccine, though, is yet to be made available in the Indian market. The next and best candidate is Bharat Biotech's pediatric dose. A modified Covaxin for kids has finally been granted approval by the subject expert committee and now awaits the final nod from the DCGI. Critically, it can vaccinate any kid above the age of 2 years. And then there's Covaxin vaccine for children, which will be launched in the first quarter of next year, most likely in January to February, as per Serum Institute's Adar Poonawalla. And finally, there's Hyderabad-based Biological E, which has been granted permission by the DCGI to conduct phase 2 and 3 clinical trials for its Made in India vaccine on children aged between 5 and 18 years. This would be the 4th vaccine to conduct trials on children in India. There are more than 12 crore adolescents in India in the 12 to 18 age bracket, and around 1% of them are susceptible to severe COVID infections, according to a top government official. This means there are at least 12 lakh children which are at risk. This will be a race against time, and the more vaccines available, the better it will be. With Runjan Sharma, Ritangshu Bhattacharya for CNN News 18.
Let me get in Dr. Naresh Trehan. He is the founder and chairperson of Medanta, also one of India's most loved and respected doctors. Sukhpal Singh Toor is the parent of a 12-year-old. Dr. Trehan, I'm going to start with you. Sukhpalji, thank you for being with us. I'm going to start with Dr. Trehan. Dr. Trehan, this will be a milestone in India's fight against COVID, a vaccine for children.
Yes, it is. It is an absolute landmark day for not only the safety of the children, but for the country itself, that there are two parts to it. One is, you know, we were always worried about the fact that if the third wave comes, will it affect the children much more? Now that this is vaccine is available, and if they can make adequate doses available, we can actually accelerate the program of vaccinating the children also, and consequently protecting them. And the downstream effect is that their safety of going to school becomes better. The second thing is that we have to be proud Indians that it has been actually designed, discovered in India, and manufactured in India. I mean, you know, we were being left out by the rest of the world, like the Pfizers of the world and the Modernas of the world, that they were not giving us the vaccine for our children. So I think that this is a very big, major accomplishment and a big step for our country. And I'm very happy that it will not only protect the children, but also protect the more vulnerable population like the elderly and the comorbidity people who could be reverse infected from children. So I think it's a very encouraging day today. I'm very happy because this is the concern we expressed all along. What about children? What about children? And today the beginning has happened.
The beginning has happened, but is it now time for parents to seriously start thinking about sending their children back to school and for governments across India to start planning for it?
Like I said, it's a relief for everybody. Like, because you worry less about yourself and more about your children. So this is naturally going to give a big boost to the morale and the safety of the children, and also that hopefully they can return back to school. Because if you look at it, the little children would be even more vulnerable in the sense because for them to practice COVID appropriate behavior is a little difficult, because you know when they get all excited with meeting each other and all that. So I think that this kind of protection that we can provide our children going forward is what they deserve. And that fact is that it is happening, and it has happened now that the approval has come. Now we need to look at the manufacturing schedules so that enough can be made available for our children.
That actually will be an issue, producing the quantities that we really need. Sukhpal Singh Toor, you are the father of a 12-year-old. With a vaccine around the corner, are you confident it is time for your kid to go to school? Will you be happy just with the first dose, or will parents like you wait till the child is fully inoculated before sending him or her to school?
Thank you, ma'am. 550 days without physical classes. That means a lot. It's a forced isolation. It is not only about the safety, it is about the mental health, it's about the morale and a lot of other factors. Finally, we have something solid where we can argue. Till now, for school reopening, we were coming up with a number of reasons which could not be, put forward for a logical argument. Now that Suraksha Kavach, our own Suraksha Kavach is there, and I don't think so that isse behtar aur isse achhi khabar kya ho sakti hai. There can be issues regarding logistics, regarding the market availability, regarding that, who should be vaccinated, the rural high risk should be vaccinated. But this is a good news, and I'm sure the teething problems would come in, but I'm sure they would be addressed.
Mr. Toor,
very good and a very positive news.
Mr. Toor, then let me just ask my question again. Will parents like you wait for the second inoculation, or will you be okay just with the first dose? Ki bhai pehli dose lag gayi hai, there is some degree of protection, we can send the kid to school. A kid who really, it has been like an imprisonment for children these last 20 months. So do you think you will be comfortable just with the first dose, or will you wait till a second dose before sending the kid to school?
We belong to parent associations also, and we are associated with others also. There are multiple opinions. Some parents are okay with sending the school without the vaccination. Some would go in for vaccination with the first dose. So the first part is that since it is there, some parents would wait for the study. Others would probably go in for the first dose, and they would start sending in. The discussion has started, and as we go by in the time, I'm sure the people would start. Some of my, if you ask particularly about me, I would in fact wait for a month or so and let the data come in. But in general, the general perception is that it is a good news, and they would start sending the children once the first dose is there.
Parents are parents. They'll wait for data to come in. They'll wait for other people to, let their children take the vaccine before they put their kid in line. Parents need to be careful. They are protective of their children. Completely understand that. But Dr. Trehan, how soon do you think that the process of inoculation can start or should start? I ask you this question because the festival season is upon us.
The approval has come today. The fine print I'm not aware of yet. So we will see, in the sense that now the company can start manufacturing, the process of ramping up the manufacturing, because unless they've got the approval, they wouldn't be able to do that. So it will take a few weeks. I'm sure it will take 2-3 weeks for them to ramp up, although they must have been prepared for it. And I think that time has come that we should look at November being a good month to start.
Let's hope it happens. Is the third wave coming, doctor? And will it impact kids? Because that is what was said, that when the third wave comes, it will be children who will be the most vulnerable. When do you see it happening?
Well, nobody really knows. We are all keeping our fingers crossed, in the sense that medically, the acid test is just coming. So the first test, I would say, was at the time of the puja in Mumbai, Ganesh Chaturthi, where a number of people did gather without proper protection. And it now going to be almost 3 weeks, and we know whether there is a consequence of that or not. The other thing that has happened is, will start now and then the puja will start in Bengal. Then there is Dussehra, Diwali, Chhath. So all these events come together at this time of the year. So we really need to be cautious, because unless, we take care of these events right now, we may suffer a huge wave. So I think that the best thing that we can do for ourselves and for our country and community is to go through this period of the next 3 months very cautiously. If we come through it well, there is a very good chance that we may be seeing the end of this pandemic. Although what the popular belief right now is that it will turn into an endemic and we live with it. Well, that's fine. If we have to live with it, we live with many other problems. It's okay. But this whole waves will at least come under control. And so I think the next 3 months are very critical.
Okay, so October, November, December critical. But as and when this third wave comes, if at all it comes, will it impact the children the most?
Well, what was the worry? The logic behind saying that the children may get worse is the fact that when the virus does not find hosts that it can overcome, then it is possible that it will be the children who will become more vulnerable. Now, that has always been our fear. Now there is a certain amount of relief, of course, till the process is completed. We cannot be complacent. But the basic thing is that there is now a hope that if vaccine comes and in enough doses quickly, that the children can be vaccinated in a short order. And at least if they get one dose, they will get 50-60% protection. So that's why we are very, very keen that this comes to the market now that the scientific community has put it through the rigors of scientific validation. Now that the validation is done, we need to move forward fast.
Okay, and I hope we don't encounter vaccine hesitancy like we did for adults. We'll leave it there. Dr. Trehan, thank you very much for joining us. Sukhpal Singh Toor, thank you very much for joining us. Can Bharat Biotech produce the large quantities of vaccines that will be required to inoculate adolescents who need to go to school, possibly little children as well? That, of course, is a question that remains to be answered. We are taking a very quick break. Up next, we are taking a closer look at Bharat Biotech and its history. Do stay with us. Bharat Biotech, the company that could possibly be the first one to start vaccinating your children, has had a roller coaster ride in the last 20 months. Like other pharma companies, they raced against time to develop a vaccine. They did, and then its rival SII questioned that vaccine. That feud is long gone, it's long over, and now Bharat Biotech has developed a vaccine for children. Take a look.
Founded in 1996 by Dr. Ella, the US-returned molecular biologist, and his wife Suchitra Ella, Bharat Biotech today boasts of delivering over 3 billion vaccine doses all over the world.
Measles and rubella vaccine.
The company's first tryst with fame came in 1998 when it launched Revac B, the world's first cesium chloride-free hepatitis B vaccine. Priced at just $1, it was the cheapest hepatitis B vaccine in the world at that time, and it was just the beginning of a series of success stories. A year later, with a capacity of 100 million doses, Bharat Biotech became the largest manufacturer of hepatitis B vaccines in the world. In 2010, Bharat Biotech launched India's first cell culture-based H1N1 swine flu vaccine. This was soon followed by an affordable diarrheal vaccine and the world's first clinically proven conjugate typhoid vaccine.
अब छठे हफ्ते से बच्चे को रोटा वायरस वैक्सीन की 5 बूंदों की खुराक भी दी जाएगी.
In 2015, Bharat Biotech's Rotovac became the first vaccine under the Make in India initiative. A year later, it became the first company to file a global patent for a Zika vaccine.
If chikungunya comes to India, then what is next? So naturally the same mosquito which transmits the chikungunya is likely to bring Zika or West Nile. That's how we started working on Zika vaccine.
Today it has over 160 patents in its kitty, ranging from common injections like polio, typhoid to viral diseases like chikungunya and Zika. Bharat Biotech is not just a biological intellectual powerhouse, but has proven in the field of innovative vaccines and biotherapeutics.
Covaxin, the second vaccine for children to have been given the emergency use authorization in India. Now, you have a vaccine for kids, you have at least 2 vaccines for kids. Are booster doses next on the government's priority list? We'll just have to wait and watch for that one. With that, it's a wrap from me. Thanks for watching.